welcome to Warm Topic Wednesdays. My name is Kim. This is Kim After 50, and on this channel, we talk about a whole lot of travel, primarily cruising, and we also talk about what it takes to start your life over, because that's what I'm doing after 50, after getting a divorce. We're talking about health and fitness, we're talking about finances, but the main topic is travel and cruising. So on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, I'm running a little bit late. I think it's like 1:20. On Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, I go live and we talk about some warm topics. Hey, Amy, how are you? Welcome to the live. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please give the video a thumbs up. Help us get into the algorithm. But on Wednesdays, we go live and we talk about warm topics. These are not hot topics because, well, today's topic is a hot topic. But these are not hot topics because sometimes I'm out of the loop and something might have happened like 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 2 decades ago, but I'm just now hearing about it. And so when I hear about it, that's when we talk about it. We try to cover 3 different categories of topics, although today, y'all, we might just be on one category. We try to cover topics that are cruise travel related. We try to cover topics that are midlife related, like 50-year-old, what life looks like at 50, and finance topics. But today, our first topic is so interesting and there's so much to talk about that we may just be focusing this entire live on the Amy Bradley case. Where is she? What happened to Amy? What do you think happened to Amy? Now, here's the thing. I fell into this rabbit hole about 2 or 3 weeks ago and just became like obsessed. I love true crime anyway. Let me know if you like true crime. Like, I love true crime. I actually go to sleep listening to true crime, which is something I keep telling myself, like, girl, you need to stop doing that. But so I stumbled upon this case, right? Where's Amy Lynn Bradley? I'm a cruiser. I love cruising. And Amy said, yes, I was hoping you'd get back to this. I'm a cruiser. I love cruising. I recently, in the last 7 or 8 months, hey, Candace. I know I started about 20 minutes late. I'm so sorry. We got our co-star in the background, tap, tap, tapping. If y'all can hear her, everybody say, hey, baby. Baby nerves are bad, y'all. She cannot just sit down. So that tap, tap, tapping is my daughter's dog, if you're new here. Oh, you do? Okay. I don't know how to do this without spoilers. But the first thing I did when I got up this morning was watch this 3-part series on Netflix. That's the first thing I did. Because like I said, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I fell down the rabbit hole and I started watching all of these YouTubers and their true crime, cases of Amy Lynn Bradley. And I was going to, and I asked you all, like, do y'all want me to wait until after the Netflix documentary to talk about it or before? And you all said before. And that was my intention. However, I had Bianca come over, because y'all know Bianca moved out. I had Bianca come over and I asked her to let me practice telling her the story because y'all say I'm a good storyteller, but I don't know. I didn't know how to tell the story. So I had Bianca come over so I could practice telling her the story. And then Maya let me practice telling her the story. And I kept just feeling like there were gaps in my story. Like there were the different, what do you call it? Podcasts or episodes I watched on it. They had some different facts. And I had a theory that I felt, I'm going to be honest with you all. My original theory was insensitive to the family. And I didn't know if I should share my original theory because, girl, yeah, listen later because, well, are there any spoilers? There are some things that came out in the Netflix series that were not in previous things that I saw. Nothing major. I actually feel like Netflix took up a whole lot of time telling a story that probably could have been told in 1 hour, but they did a good job. Candace, you know this is my show. This is my talk show. I'm actually thinking about on this wall right here. I ordered some of that wall grass stuff, and it's here. But I'm thinking about making getting a thing made, a neon sign that says Warm Topic Wednesdays, and putting it right here. But so my original theory was very insensitive to the family, because I suspected the family. And I didn't want to say that. Like, I didn't want to come on and say that, because if you're already dealing with a tragedy like that, of that magnitude, because I told Bianca, what if my video go viral? Like, what if millions of people watch my video? Because one day, one of these videos is going to get watched by millions of people. I'm claiming that. And I don't know which one it's going to be, right? It could be this one. What if my video goes viral? And I'm saying I think that somebody in the family did it, and they didn't. And that adds to their hurt. I would never want to add to this family's hurt. You understand what I'm saying? So Bianca and I, we went through it, and we said, well, let's just, at the end, I'll just lay out the different theories of what could have possibly happened, and never say what I thought happened. And but I just never felt right. Now, let me tell you, I feel differently after watching the Netflix documentary. I feel like more information was shared, and it was kind of, when you're studying history, I love history. The best thing that you can do is to go to like the primary sources, like the primary documents, right? You don't want to hear what somebody said about what the Declaration of Independence means. Well, you do, but you don't want what somebody said about it to be what you base your opinion on. You want to read the document for yourself, right? So that you can kind of, as much as possible, have an unbiased opinion. So in this documentary, we had the privilege of hearing directly from her mother, her father, her brother, some friends, the person in the cabin next door, the cruise director that was on the ship at the time, and I want to say like the guest service manager was also part of it. Let me know if anybody else has watched the documentary already on Netflix. Hey, One Crafty Sister, how are you? So we had the privilege of hearing from these people who were there. We heard from the police in Curacao. We heard from the FBI. And so I feel like my opinions have changed. And I'm happy I did not put out that original video, because if what is being said in the Netflix documentary is true, then some of the things that we heard in previous YouTube videos or whatever, online forums, were not accurate. All right. So I'm about to start talking about my thoughts on the documentary, sharing some of the facts from the documentary. The bones of it are the same, but the little things are what make the difference. Okay. So I'm about to start sharing that. If you don't want to see it, then I don't want to tell you to leave, because it's my talk show. But go watch the documentary and then come back and watch this. Okay. So let me know if you all watched it. Let me know what you thought about it if you watched it. And also let me know what you know about the Amy Lynn Bradley case. Okay, do that for me. And then while y'all do that, I'm going to pull up my notes. Hold on. Do you know anything about it, Candace? Candace says she has not watched it at all. Do you know anything about it? I know a couple of you all, after I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, a couple of y'all told me that y'all went and like fell down your own rabbit hole after we talked about it a couple weeks. All right, so I'm going to give y'all the basic facts first, and then I'm going to get um, into what we learned on the documentary. Brief history overview, please. I know nothing. Okay, that's what we're going to get into right now is the brief history and the overview. So Amy Lynn Bradley went on Royal Caribbean Rhapsody of the Seas with her family in March of 1998. Her father, her mother, okay, are we still here? Because I just got unfrozen. So tell me if we're still here. Let me know if we're still here. Let me know if you all can see me. Let me know if you all can hear me. Let me know. I don't think we're still here because the viewers went down to one. Everything is going as it should. Hold on one second. Okay, I think we're still here. Let me know if you all can hear me. All right. So I think we're good because I just went to my other channel and we're good. All right, I got a phone call. I got to remember to put it on Do Not Disturb. My phone call was actually from my friend that's traveling, that's going on the cruise with MH Family Adventures with me. And she's probably calling because I have not talked to her in a couple weeks. And just to tie up loose ends, but I'll call her back. I got to remember to put it on Do Not Disturb. All right, so let's get into the basic facts of Amy Lynn Bradley. Amy Lynn Bradley and her family, her father, her mother, her brother, went on a cruise on the Royal Caribbean cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas. It was a 7-day cruise, leaving Puerto Rico, going to Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, St. Thomas. Her parents had won this cruise from they were both insurance agents. The father won it like a sales competition at work. One of the questions answered in the documentary that I just could not find information on before is that they were all sharing a cabin. All right. I was thinking they had 2 different cabins. They were all sharing a cabin. The last time Amy was seen was on the morning of March 24th, 1998 on the cruise ship. Her father saw her on the balcony of the cruise ship at about 5:30 that morning. He woke up again at about 6. She was gone and she was never to be seen again. Now, the reason this case is so interesting is because since then, people have claimed to have seen her in the Caribbean. Multiple people have claimed to have seen her in the Caribbean. So that is the background of the story. And like I said, I probably watched 6 hours of video on this story prior to the Netflix documentary and probably spent as much or more time reading about it because when I first heard about it, I just became like obsessed, right? You all know I'm very much into cruise safety. As a person who just in the last 7-8 months started solo cruising and want to eventually just do like world travel solo, I'm very much into safety. I'm also a mother to 4 daughters, and I'm also, I don't think I've ever told you all this. I don't ever know what I tell y'all because I just talk so much, but I'm also a mother who has experienced having her child kidnapped before. So I know the panic feeling of your child is not where that child is supposed to be. Now, my child was in kindergarten at the time, but I know that panic feeling of your child is not where they're supposed to be. So this case just intrigued me on so many different levels. So now I'm going to get into what I learned from the documentary. Let me know if you have any questions or comments along the way. This is an interactive talk show. So I talk, you talk, we talk, we do the whole thing together. We work together on this, okay? Okay, so um this they mostly went in chronological order on this Netflix docu series. However, sometimes they would like get to the end and come back with the fact that may have helped you if you knew it sooner. So the parents of Amy Lynn Bradley were 45 at the time of the cruise. Amy was 23. Her younger brother Brad was 21. The series starts off with different people sharing their different theories. Could she have taken her own life? Could someone have pushed her over? Could someone have put her in a suitcase and smuggled her off the ship? Like all these different theories of what may have happened to Amy. And all of those theories are like out there. Like out of everything I watched, you can't say all of the people believe the same thing. Like everybody kind of had a different take after looking over the evidence on what may have happened. So, like I said, the cruise director was part of this docuseries. And let me tell you something. I don't like him. Okay. I don't suspect him in what happened, but I don't like his attitude. Okay. So, like I said, the ship left out of San Juan, Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, St. Thomas. The family shared a cabin. They did not mention this in the documentary, but everything else I watched said that Amy did not want to go on this cruise. Everything else I watched said that she was scared of like the open ocean and that she didn't want to go on the cruise. But finally, she decided to go spend that time with her family. And at the end, she was looking forward to it. She had just graduated from college, just was about to start a new job, just got a new apartment, just got a new dog. So all of those things would make you feel like she was at a place in her life where like she was really looking forward to life, right? However, something that I only prior to this Netflix series, I only saw one person talk about this, is that Amy had also recently come out to her family. And the year was 1998. Things were different then, right? And that also she had just experienced a breakup with her girlfriend prior to getting on this cruise. So those are things to take into consideration. Again, I watched so many different people talk about this case, but I only saw one person talk about the fact that Amy's family was upset by her coming out, that her father was very upset. And see, when I was talking to Bianca about when I was going to try to do this prior to the Netflix documentary, because I had only seen one person talk about that, it wasn't corroborated in any way to me. And I didn't know if I should share that with you all because is it just gossip? Is it a rumor? But I saw an interview. See, this is how you don't know how far to go before you have to come back. Okay, I'll come back to that. But anyway, I had only seen one person talk about the fact that she had come out. Her father was not pleased about her coming out, and that she had this recent breakup with this girlfriend. All right, so you have those life circumstances that may lead you to think one thing happened, but then you also have the just finished college, just got a new dog, just got a new apartment, about to start a new exciting life. All right, so you have both of those on opposite ends. So Amy was when they got to Puerto Rico, which is where they departed from, she sent postcards back to her family, including the ex-girlfriend, and she was taking lots and lots of pictures because she was entering some photo contest. So day 3 of the cruise is when they were in Aruba. They got off the ship as a family. I think they rented a vehicle and they toured the island as a family, and they had a great time. Like the mother said, everybody was tired when they got back on the ship. Amy was sunburned. Like they had had a really good time in Aruba that day. That night was formal night on the cruise. So if you're a cruiser, you go back, you shower, you rest, relax, you get ready for formal night. We don't do formal like they used to do formal, but still, you get ready for formal night. The family, I think the mother is like me. Honey, the mother suspects everybody. Amy's mother, she suspects everybody. Amy's mother mentioned that she felt that the wait staff was flirting with Amy. She recalls the wait staff asking, "Where's Amy?" And they were saying they wanted to hang out with her and go to a club. What was it called? Charlie's, and the club Natalie Holloway, is that her name? The club she went missing from. So she felt that the wait staff was flirting, and the fact that they asked where Amy was kind of made her feel uncomfortable. Maya and Bianca, both of them, when I practiced telling them this story and I got to that part, they both said, that's normal. Like, I don't think they are necessarily flirting, but the wait staff is always super friendly. And they both mentioned that at times when I don't go to the dining room with them, the wait staff will be like, "Where's mom? What's she doing tonight? Oh, mom having fun by herself," like things like that. So they kind of felt like that was nothing. Like to the mother, it stands out. But both Bianca and Maya kind of felt like that was nothing. That's typical behavior of the wait staff, but we weren't there, right? So we can say in our experience, if you have somebody missing from your party, they're going to ask about where they are. They're going to make friendly talk. They're going to talk to you like they're your friend. They're going to want to know where you are from, what you do. I've had wait staff talk to me about, especially like if I order just all protein because I'm doing keto or carnivore, they talk to me about that. I've shared, I'm trying to lose weight, and I've had wait staff tell me, "Oh, mama, you don't need to lose any weight." I don't ever think they're flirting with me. I think they're being friendly. I think it's their job, but we weren't there, so we don't know what Amy's mother felt. Natasha said, "I just got off the Icon last week and my 15-year-old daughter did not go to dinner, and the waiter asked both times where she was." Right. Like, I didn't even share my opinion on it because when I was doing the story with Bianca and Maya, I was really just trying to tell the story the way I want to tell it to you all so that I could get comfortable telling the story. And they both interjected and said, "I feel like that's normal." Amy also said completely normal for the wait staff to ask. So after dinner, there was a deck party, and they all went to the deck party. After the deck party, the parents went to bed, and Amy and Brad, that's her younger brother, went to the club. Now, Brad leaves the club and goes up on the open deck and then returns to the room. 5 minutes later, Amy got back to the room at 3:40 a.m. The key card that you put in the door to go into your cabin recorded that she got back at 3:40 a.m. While Amy was at the club, we have video of her dancing with a guy named Alister, nicknamed Yellow. And it's so funny to me how every story I saw questioned why his nickname was Yellow. And even in the Netflix documentary, I think they said something like, at one point he's a black man. At one point he had dyed his hair yellow, and maybe that's where the nickname Yellow came from. Me, as a black person who grew up in a black household, who grew up in black culture, when I saw him, I instantly knew why his nickname was Yellow. And it's because he's a very light-skinned black man. And within the black culture, sometimes if you're a lighter complexion, people will call you red or yellow. It's not a put down. It's just a thing. And so when I saw his picture and they said his nickname was Yellow, like I felt like I immediately knew why his nickname was Yellow. So there are video of her dancing with Yellow, who was a bass player in one of the bands that performed on the ship, but he was also a DJ at the nightclub. And there are video of her dancing with him that night. So anyway, Amy leaves the club. She comes back to the room. She enters the room at about 3:40. Her and her brother drink and talk about the next day. The brother says that Amy told him the bass player made a physical pass at her, but she didn't seem too bothered. Both the brother and Amy were tipsy. This is according to the brother. Both the brother and Amy were tipsy. He goes to bed. He tells her he loves her. And he said that's the last words he ever said to his sister. And it brings him so much comfort that the last thing he said to his sister was that he loves her. Amy says she doesn't feel too well, so she stays on the balcony. This is all according to her brother. All right. 5:30 a.m. This is the day they're pulling into Curacao. 5:30 a.m. The dad sees Brad in the bed asleep. He looks out on the balcony and he sees Amy's legs, but he doesn't see her. He sees her legs and feet. He assumes that she's asleep. 30 minutes later, so 6, the dad wakes up. Amy's gone. The balcony door is open about 12 to 14 inches. Amy's cigarettes are gone. And the shirt she is wearing was wearing before is over the chair, but Amy's shoes are still on the balcony. The dad thinks Amy must have gotten up to go get some coffee or take pictures, so he gets up to go look for her. Now, remember I said everything I watched prior to this documentary, I was like, oh, I suspect the family. This was one of the things that made me suspect the family. I feel like right now, I don't. I feel like I was wrong to think that. But Amy, her dad gets up. He goes look for her. Oh, also, you all, please thumbs up the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. The dad gets up to go look for her. He doesn't see her. When he comes back to the cabin, he wakes up his wife and he says, I can't find Amy. And I've been looking for her and I can't find her. I did not see this in the documentary, but I saw this in multiple other sources. The mom says that the father looked almost unrecognizable to her. Like the look on his face when he was saying, I can't find Amy, he looked so different than she's used to him looking that it startled her. And that, hey, Miss Patricia, and that to me seemed odd because at this point, she hasn't been missing that long. And a cruise ship is pretty big. And maybe you were going in the up elevator while she was in the down elevator. Or maybe you went to the Lido while she was in the buffet. And when you walked through the buffet, she had already, like I don't feel like I would be so panicked in 30, 45 minutes of looking for my child that I would just be unrecognizable to my spouse. Like I would have that much panic in my face. So I was wondering why the dad would have that much panic. Hey, Miss Karen, thank you for joining us that early into it. However, maybe he had like a parental intuition. I don't know. But they did not make that comment in the Netflix documentary, but I saw it in multiple other places that he just was so panicked that he was almost unrecognizable to the mom. So he comes back and wakes her up. At this point, it would have been roughly an hour from the time that he saw her feet on the balcony, her feet and legs. He sleeps for 30 minutes, wakes up again. She's not there. He goes and looks for her for about 30 minutes. He comes back and wakes up the wife. They go down and talk to the guest relations manager who appeared in the docuseries. I could see his panic. If the last time he saw her was on the balcony and her shoes were still there, then where could you be? Right, but they don't suspect her at all having gone over the balcony. Which also was odd to me. Because if her shoes are still there, And in everything else, prior to seeing this, they said all of her clothes were still there. Like she had all of her shoes were still in the cabin. So that means she's walking around the ship barefoot. And that's odd. I mean, I think that there are maybe people who do it. I was telling Bianca and Maya, I think I've seen an occasional person walking around the ship barefoot. But both of them said no, not unless you're like on the open deck. That they had never seen anybody else walking around the ship barefoot. I was like, maybe I've seen one or two, but it would not be the norm. Like the fact that all of her shoes were still in the cabin, to me would be a sign that she went overboard. But they didn't mention in this documentary that all of her shoes were in the cabin. I had just seen that in other places. So they go to the guest relations manager who appeared in the documentary, and he says they were a bit forceful in wanting to know what the ship could do to find their daughter. They wanted a voice page, but he felt Natasha said, how guilty would you feel if you saw her legs, went back to sleep for 30 minutes, and then she's missing? Oh, I 100% agree, Natasha. I just think that I would not, and that's why you can't go by what you do. I see this all the time in true crime stuff where people say, she didn't act the way a grieving spouse would act. Well, she didn't act the way most grieving spouses would act, but maybe she acted the way she would act as a grieving spouse. Like, I feel like if I saw one of my kids sleep on the balcony, I mean, I would wake them up and say, come get in your bed. But if I saw one of my kids sleep in the balcony and then 30 minutes later they were gone and I thought, oh, they went up to get coffee or take a picture, I don't see myself getting that panic that quickly. Me, right? But that's why you can't go by what your reaction would be. Let's see. And then, like I said, it could have been some kind of parental knowing. You all know, I tell my kids all the time, the Holy Spirit is going to reveal to me everything I need to know to raise you right. Like God is going to show me everything I need to know to raise you right. So it could have just been a parental knowing. Like when my daughter got kidnapped and I went to the bus stop and she was not on the bus. I immediately knew she didn't just miss the bus, like from the school. Like she didn't just not make it to the bus in time. I immediately knew something happened. So the guest relations manager says that they came to the desk and were a bit forceful, wanting to know what the ship could do to find their daughter. They wanted a voice page, but he said at 7 a.m. it was too early to disturb other guests. He tells them to continue looking and come back in 30 minutes and let them know if they still didn't find her, he would get security. So now we're an hour and a half after the father saw Amy's legs and feet. Because that was 5:30. He woke up at 6. She's gone. Now it's about 7, according to the guest relations manager. I can see him saying it's too early to disturb other guests who may be sleeping with an announcement. But I also feel like you should have called security right then and there. Even if you think the parents are overreacting, let them file a report with security. Let them at least make security aware so the security can let the other security know, be on the lookout for this person. At least that. I don't feel like that needed to wait 30 minutes. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But I don't blame him for not wanting to go into the guest room with an announcement that early in the morning. Because again, he's probably thinking these are parents who are overreacting. Everything is probably fine. But I do feel like at the very least, let security know. Let them talk to security. Hey, Miss Mickey. All right, so, and clearly 30 minutes later, they still can't find her. Something that was mentioned in prior sources that was not mentioned in this documentary is that the brother says that during those 30 minutes while they were out looking for Amy, Yellow, Alister, the band member she was dancing with, comes up to him and says, hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your sister. And he's like, well, how do you know about my sister? Like, why are you know? They haven't even made an announcement yet. Why do you know about my sister? That was not mentioned in the documentary. Yellow says he never said that. But even if he did say that, maybe the staff knew. Because, you know, just because they didn't say it overhead doesn't mean the staff was not made aware. Um, so anyway, they still don't see Amy. And then the mother, so after the 30 minutes, the ship makes the announcement about Amy. Just Amy, come to the desk. If you hear this announcement, Amy, come to the desk. I'm sure we've all heard those kind of announcements on a cruise ship. The mom is asking them, because they're pulling into Curacao. The mom is asking them, do not let these people off the ship. Please do not let anybody off this ship. And this is where it is the Amy Bradley documentary that just came out on Netflix, but it's also all over YouTube. So many people have covered this for years, covered this story. This is where I fell out with the cruise director, right here, right? Me and him were cool. We were okay. But this statement right here is where I fell out with him. And maybe I'm wrong. But the mom is asking them not to let people off the ship. I don't think that they were wrong for letting people off the ship, because I don't know the ins and outs of that. Like, maybe contractually they have to. Maybe they still think that Amy is just okay. Like, nothing wrong. She just is an adult woman remember, she's 23, who's doing her own thing for a little while. Maybe they see people go missing every day, all day on a cruise ship, and 99.99999% of the time the people are okay. So they're not taking this as serious as the family. But the cruise director says, we had to let the people off the ship. One family had an unfortunate incident, but we still had 2,400 people who paid a lot of money. And why did I put as cute as that sounds? That's a reality. Oh, he probably said cruel. And as cruel as that sounds, that's the reality. I just didn't like that comment. One family had an unfortunate incident, but we still had 2,400 people who had paid a lot of money. And as cruel as that sounds, that's just the reality. Now that I'm reading that back to you, it doesn't sound that bad. But if you watch this documentary, or if you watch it, let me know how you felt after you heard him say that. Because that, I was like, okay, we're done. I don't like him no more. And this is the part, y'all, where I kind of teared up, because the dad made a comment, and I hadn't ever thought about it in researching this case, but it reminded me of after my brother passed away. After my brother passed away, I went to Walmart for something. And I remember walking in Walmart, and I almost felt like I was detached from reality. I felt like, how are all these people in this store like just walking around laughing and talking, and my brother just died? It was the weirdest feeling, because these people don't know my brother, right? But that's what I felt like. How are all these people just okay right now, and my brother just died? And the father said, he talks about seeing all of these people laughing and talking and enjoying their cruise while he's frantically searching for his daughter. And it just made me tear up, because I could so relate to that feeling of just, how is everybody else okay when my whole world just fell apart? So that just made me tear up. So Hello Kim was watching for the past 20 minutes, interested. Hello, Lady JL. So while the ship was docked, they let the people get off. Now, hindsight is 2020, right? But if they wouldn't have stopped the people from getting off, it's 3 of us. I would have told our family, let's post up at the exits and watch everybody get off this ship. Because here's the thing. Back then, you know how when we get off the ship, you give them your card and it, bing, and then you get off the ship. And then when you come back to the ship, bing, and you're back on the ship. Back then, you did not bing off the ship. They didn't care who was getting off. You only binged on the ship. That wasn't in this documentary, but it was in prior things that I saw. So they don't know. They have no record of her getting off the ship in Curacao that day, but they have no record of anybody getting off the ship, because you did not, I don't know what normal people call it. My family calls it binging off and binging on, because you did not bing off. You only binged on. So I felt like they should have, the brother at one exit, if they were using multiple exits, the parents at another exit, and watch every single person who gets off that ship. But hindsight is 2020. So they did what they called a Charlie drill that took 45 minutes to an hour. And the cruise staff says, yes, the Amy Bradley documentary. The cruise staff says they searched every inch of the ship. And they informed the parents at 9 a.m. that they have searched every inch of the ship and they don't see her. However, previous things that I saw said they did not search passenger cabins. This documentary said they did. They searched every inch of the ship. They searched closets and drawers and everything. So at this point, the employees assume she has gone overboard. All right. And they contact the Curacao police. The Curacao police participated in the documentary. They said it's the biggest search they ever had. They searched the waters. I'm guessing back then there were no cameras on the ship. They said there were very few cameras. There were cameras, but mostly in public spaces and not very many. Okay, so the Curacao police said it's the biggest search they ever did. They had helicopters. They searched the water. And here's the thing. The police in Curacao feel like if she had gone overboard, Miss Mickey said, match the thumbs up with the number of people in the chat. Thank you so much, Miss Mickey, for always reminding us of that. Oh, okay. So the Curacao police said they felt like if she had gone overboard at the time, like between 5:30 and 6, for the ship's location in relation to Curacao, if she had gone overboard at that time, they feel that her body would have washed ashore. They feel like one of the guys said, I know these waters. If she had gone overboard, her body would have washed ashore. Even if a shark got to her, part of her body would have washed ashore. I saw a lot of people say, because she was on a swim team in college, and so a lot of people were like, plus she was a really good swimmer, so if she fell overboard, she would have been able to swim back. But from what I've seen, oh goodness, I didn't put it in my notes on my iPad. I had it in my paper notes. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find out where I found it. Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. And see if it looks the same as what I found. See if their results seem the same. These don't seem quite the same, but I'm going to read them. They don't like trigger my memory to seem like they're exactly what I had found before. But this is according to ChatGPT. Roughly 1 in 1.3 million passengers fall overboard. 27 to 30 people per year globally out of 30 million cruise passengers annually. All right, so we're not gonna all panic. We're not gonna all be like, see, this is why I don't cruise. I'm not going back on a cruise ship. Roughly 1 in 1.3 million passengers fall overboard. The survival rate is only 17 to 25% of people who fall overboard are rescued alive. What that would mean, 75 to 83% don't make it, mainly due to the height of the fall, the shock from cold water, drowning, and delayed rescue. Out of 212 overboard incidents, only 48 people were rescued. This is from 2009 to 2019. Out of 2012 overboard incidents, only 48 people were rescued, a survival rate of 28.2. For the most part, the force of the impact is fatal. So it doesn't even matter how good of a swimmer was. She could have been an Olympic level swimmer. For the most part, the force of the impact is fatal. Um, and hold on. Okay. So they're saying that when a person is not rescued, they're typically lost at sea. The true recovery rates of bodies, the percentage that are found, um, I saw I had a number before. Okay, so this one just says statistically, only about 1 in 4 people who go overboard are found alive. The rest don't survive the fall. Of those, most are never recovered. All right, so they're saying most. I had a number before, I didn't put it in my notes, and I apologize for that. But they're just saying most are never recovered. But this police chief, or I don't know if he was a chief, I done made the man a chief. He might have been a chief. This police officer says that he knows the waters in Curacao, and something or some part of her would have washed ashore. So I don't know. Um, but they found nothing, and they've never found anything. The ship leaves at 5 or 6 o'clock, and by 5 or 6 o'clock, it is back to normal operations. The cruise is just kind of back to normal. However, what happens is the family is calling people back home, telling people what happened, and it hits the news. And the FBI becomes aware. I don't know if the family contacted the FBI. I think I did see that in something previous. But the FBI becomes aware, and the FBI boards the ship 2 days later when it's in St. Martin. The family is on the ship. This is what the FBI noted. The table, you know how on your balcony you have a little table? It's pushed up against the balcony wall. Like somebody could have stood on it to get over the balcony. The shoes are still on the balcony, but the room has been cleaned. So they say, like, we really can't consider anything because this room has been serviced. So we've kind of lost evidence. We don't get the opportunity to see the room as it was when she disappeared. We don't know if that table was pushed over there by the cleaning staff or crew, which I highly doubt they would do that. But they have no way of knowing. The mother they question the family like extensively, and the mother wants to know, like, why are y'all asking us so many questions? Go out there, talk to them, because we didn't do it. The father has to explain to her, well, you know, they might suspect us. Now, remember I said the mother suspects everybody? The guy in the cabin next to them was a solo cruiser. He said he saw Amy in the club at 2 a.m. and he would lean over his balcony and talk to Amy when she was on her balcony. The mother says she thinks he was odd. Now, this guy was in the documentary, and I'm going to agree with Mom. Like, he did seem a little odd. The neighbors on the other side of him, so like Amy and her family are right here. The odd guy is right here. These neighbors over here. They said that they heard after the time that Amy would have went missing, he turned his TV up super loud so that they could hear his TV, but they heard him over the TV talking to somebody. And sir, who are you talking to? Because you're supposed to be in there by yourself. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like he wouldn't have participated in the documentary if he had something to do with it, but I'm not sure. So they, at some point during this day, they pass out flyers to all the cabins, like a missing person flyer. And a guy who was on the cruise ship recording footage for his company recognizes Amy. And he is the one that had the footage of her dancing with Yellow in the nightclub the night before, or a couple nights before. He says that the security of the cruise ship asked him for his original footage. He said no. He made a copy of it and he gave the copy to the FBI. And then there are two young women that they claim that morning between 5 and 6, they saw Amy go all the way up on the glass elevator with Yellow between 5 and 6, okay? Father last saw her sleep at 5:30. They were out on the deck. They saw her, so they weren't in the elevator. They were just on the deck and they could see who was in the elevator. They saw Amy and Yellow go up on the glass elevator together. And then, did they say how much long? And then 15 minutes later, they only see Yellow and he's like rushing past them, walking with intention. And they thought that was odd because just the night before they had seen him in the club and he was trying to talk to them. Now here they are on a deck alone and he doesn't even look their way. He's just like making it, trying to get somewhere. So they thought that was odd. The FBI interviewed and polygraphed him. He admitted to Yellow, to knowing who she was and flirting with her. The FBI agent said the results of the polygraph were inconclusive. And and he said that Yellow was bothered. He said, I don't know why he was bothered. He could have been bothered because he had something to do with it, or he could have been bothered because this is tragic. He doesn't know why he was bothered, but he was bothered. And another FBI agent said if this had been a local crime, he would have been arrested. But they really could not arrest him because it was on international waters. Everything is different. Once you get 12 miles outside of a country, you're in international waters, and they just play by different rules. So the family did not finish the cruise. They flew home from St. Thomas. 2.5 weeks. Y'all let me know if y'all have questions, comments, or concerns, okay? 2.5 weeks later, the father and the son go back to Curacao. The mother stayed home because, mother wasn't playing. When they got home, they set up a whole Where's Amy task force. They had hotline numbers. They were working around the clock. This mother really broke my heart. But the father and the son go back to search for her 2.5 weeks later. A taxi driver approaches them and says that he saw Amy. He said he will never forget her beautiful green eyes. He saw Amy, and he told them that Amy came up to him and told him that she needed a phone. So he pointed her in the direction of a phone. And then he tells them to go search the Coral Cliffs Resort, or the Coral Cliffs area. The police go with them because apparently this is an area where it's not really safe to go into by yourself. So the police go with them to search this area. The police says that this area is known for drug crime, prostitution, and trafficking. Okay. Now Brad, I kind of don't believe this. I believe he believes it. Okay. But he said that he heard, while they were driving through this area, he heard his sister distinctly. This is why I can't do true crime reporting, y'all, because my words. He heard his sister distinctly call out his name. And he said, I know what it sounds like when my sister calls my name. And so they go from a passing car. They catch up with the car, pull the car over. There's nobody in the car but an older man. Amy's not in the car. And all right, so that's 2.5 weeks. This happened in March. In December of 1998, Amy is on America's Most Wanted. Y'all remember that? Does that still come on? And a guy who was watching it had been on vacation in Curacao in August of that same year. Amy goes missing in March. The guy was on vacation in August, but he saw the America's Most Wanted episode in December. And he said that while he was there, he was kind of in like a remote area. It wasn't like a touristy area. He said you might see like half a dozen people if you were lucky in this area. And a girl was with two guys, and the girl had a Tasmanian devil tattoo, which Amy had. And when she saw him, she walked towards him like she was about to say something to him. But then one of the guys with her kind of stares at him, and the emotions for Amy to come on, or the person to come on, and then they leave. Now he says the guy that stared at him, who y'all think he said it was? He said the guy who stared at him was Yellow, Alister Douglas. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't report this to anybody. He feels uneasy about it, but he doesn't let anybody know until September, October, November, December. 4 months later, when he's watching America's Most Wanted, he calls and lets them know. Okay, here are my notes. I say that Amy, this is where in the Netflix series is confirmed that Amy did come out as gay during college. They said she came out her junior year, and this trip was after her graduation, so maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years later. And that her parents were not happy. One of Amy's ex-girlfriends was on, I don't know why this is here in my notes. I think it's just to confirm for myself that something I had heard earlier was true. But these notes are kind of in order of how things went down in the documentary. So this is at the point that it comes up in the documentary. Okay. The dad wrote a 3-page letter to Amy's girlfriend expressing how upset and bothered he was by the situation. And some of her friends from college said that she drank a lot during college, and they felt like she just had a heaviness. And possibly she was drinking a lot to numb her feelings. Her family was very close. Everybody talks about how close this family was. But her parents did have an issue with her when she came out. Now, I watched an interview that was done recently, but I don't know how recent, where the person was talking to Yellow. All right. And Yellow says that night when him and Amy talked, she told him that her parents forced her to come on a cruise. This wasn't part of the Netflix documentary, okay? That her parents forced her to come on a cruise, and that her father was upset that she was gay. And that she talked to him about that on the cruise. At that time, I didn't know whether to believe it because I hadn't really heard this widespread. Now I do believe that he and Amy had that conversation. And the person who shared that Yellow said Amy felt forced to come on the cruise, they said they didn't believe that because his family is just such a wonderful family. But Maya said she could see a young person wording it that way. Like if they really didn't want to come on the cruise and their parents were like, come on, just come. How often are we going to be able to spend time together as a family? You guys are growing up. Your father and I won this trip. We just really want to spend time together. Come on, experience it, blah, blah, blah. She said she could see a young person wording it like, my parents forced me to come on this cruise. Not meaning like they forced you to go on the cruise, but just like they talked you into it. So I believe him. I believe what Alister said. I'm not saying I don't believe he did it, but I believe that he said Amy said her parents forced her and that her father was upset about her coming out. Okay, so now the last known sighting we have is August of 1998. That was reported in December of 1998. But here we are in 1999. We're going to call this person Bill the Navy Man. Okay, that's what we're going to call him. Y'all, we're running over our time for our Warm Topic Wednesdays. Hopefully y'all can hang with me. Bill the Navy Man. We don't like him. Okay? That's the kind of friendship we have. If I don't like him, you don't like him. We don't like Bill the Navy Man. Okay? He says in January of 1999. So now we're what, like 11 months, 10, 11 months after Amy went missing? All right, Candace, I'm going to keep going. He says that a white girl, he went to this club. He was on the with the Navy. They docked in Curacao for one night. He went to a club. In previous things, they said it was like a brothel. He says it's a club with a hotel on top. And he sees this guy. He said there are guns everywhere. Like when you walk in, there's a guy sitting there with a gun. He sees a white girl and a Spanish girl with these two men. Now, when the two men step away, the white girl comes up to him, and this is what he said. She said, "Okay, they're holding me against my will, and I need help. I owe them $200. My name is Amy Bradley. I was on a cruise ship." He said she told him all of this. "I was on a cruise ship. I got off the ship to get drugs, and now I'm stuck with these guys." Do you not know this man said nothing to no one? Said nothing to anyone? He said nothing. Again, he says she came up to him and said, "My name is Amy Bradley. I was on a cruise ship. I got off the cruise ship to get drugs. No. Let me back up. She said, they're holding me against my will and I need help. I owe them $200. My name is Amy Bradley. I got off the ship to get drugs and now I'm stuck with these guys." Y'all know how long it took him to say something? 3 or 4 years later, he saw Amy's picture in a magazine and then reported it at that time. He said he did not want to get restricted to the ship or busted down to a lower rate. I'm assuming that means like demoted. When you get demoted, you make less money. That's what I'm assuming that means. Because he was close to retirement. So he didn't want to get restricted to the ship or busted down to a lower rate. And they asked him, like, "Why should we believe you?" And he said, "Well, the FBI believed me and I took a lie detector test." Again, friends, we don't like Bill the Navy man. We don't like him. 3 or 4 years. Someone comes to you and says they need help. This is what Maya said. Why didn't he just report it anonymously? I don't know. Okay, so at this point, the mother in the docuseries, the mother is saying, like, you go back through everything. You go back through everything in your head and you start to remember all the little things that just didn't seem right, but you just pass them off because you're on vacation, you're having a good time, but you go back and you start thinking about these things. And that's where she said the waiters told her they want to take Amy to Carlos and Charlie's, which is a club in Aruba. Amy and her family had also taken some cruise pictures. And when they went to go purchase their pictures, all the pictures with Amy were missing from the gallery. The mom says in one of the balconies on top of them, this man was leaning over, looking into the balcony. I guess he thought he was going to see Amy, but it was the mom that he saw. So she just feels like somebody wanted her daughter and they took her daughter. And I can see how you go back, because I do that with little things, right? Like you go back and you say, "Oh, well, this happened because this is it. Oh, now I see why she said such and such. Oh, now I get it." Like I do that with little things. So I can see how the mom is like replaying this cruise in her head constantly, trying to remember everything so that she can come up with anything that's going to help her find her child. So in 2005, okay, now remember this happened in 1998. In 2005, the family receives photos from a website. This website is a website that people use to connect. How can I say this? With workers, certain kind of workers in the Caribbean. Y'all know what kind of workers I'm talking about? Let me know if you know what kind of workers I'm talking about. And these are pictures of one of those kind of workers in suggestive poses. And they're saying that this particular worker is Amy. Y'all, she looks like Amy. She looks like an older, been through a lot version of Amy, but she looks like Amy. So Candace said we got it. Okay, good. The family feels like the pictures could be Amy. They give the pictures to the FBI. The FBI analyzes the photos, and a forensic analyst believes it to be Amy. And they check everything. They check her widow's peak, and the person in the pictures has the same widow's peak. They check her jawline. They check her chin, the formation of her lips in the corner, the length of her neck to her arm. Like the forensic analyst for the FBI checks everything, and they believe that the person in these pictures is in fact Amy. But there's no way to track who this person is or how to get in touch with her. March of 2005, a woman is in Barbados. Her name is Judy. Now, up until this, I was a fan of Judy because this story was told differently in everything else I watched, right? I feel like a lot of these true crime things are a game of telephone. Like, a lot of them have the same facts, and then the facts will be wrong. So it's like one person watched, like person B watched person A's video of it, and then they made their video and just put their own spin on what person A shared, and then person C watches person B's, and that's the extent of their research. You know what I'm saying? And then they put their own spin on it and share what person B shared. Because it was crazy how a lot of the things that they got wrong, they all got wrong. Okay. The souvenir shop. She's on a cruise too. And she's going souvenir shopping. And she had to use the restroom. While she's in the stall, she hears some men talking outside the stall in the restroom. And the men are talking to somebody and they're saying, listen, don't mess this up for me. The appointment is at 11 o'clock. Do not mess this up for me. So she kind of hides in the stall because she don't know what they're talking about, but it, don't sound legitimate. She hears the men leave, and then she goes out and she sees a woman at the sink crying, and she asks her name. Well, first she asks her, do you live here? And the girl shakes her head no. And she said, are you on vacation? The audio is cutting out. Is it still cutting out? Let me know. Let me know. I don't know what I can do about it if it is. If I need to go back and repeat something, let me know. If there's something you missed, let me know and I'll repeat it. So they asked her, do you live here? And she just shakes her head no. And then she says, are you on vacation? And she shakes her head no. So then the woman, she's trying to, my audio is messing up. I don't know what to do, y'all. I should have done this as a recorded video. I'm good now? Okay, what did you all miss? Let me know what you missed if I need to repeat something. Baby, if you don't sit down. Okay, the Judy story. So Judy is in Barbados in March of 2005. She's on a cruise and she goes into a souvenir shop to buy some souvenirs. She ends up not buying anything, but she goes into the bathroom. And while she's in the stall, she hears some men and they're talking to somebody and they're saying, listen, don't you mess this up for me. Do not mess this up for me. The appointment is at 11 o'clock. They say something like that. And Judy kind of hides in the bathroom because she's smart, right? It sounds like something's not right. So then after the men leave and close the door, she comes out of the bathroom. Child, I'd have still been in that bathroom because this is how my mind works. How do I know you're not faking and shutting the door, but you're just standing right there trying to make me think, oh, Mickey said I'm still messing up. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking, y'all, because I don't know what to do if I'm breaking up. But if you miss something, just ask me and I'll repeat it, okay? I don't know what to do about that. But so they Okay, Mickey, they say go out and come in. Natasha and somebody else said that they went out and came back in and it was better. Um, so anyway, so she goes up to the sink. A woman is standing there. She asks the woman, "Do you live here?" The woman shakes her head. And then she asks her, "Are you on vacation?" The woman shakes her head. And then she said she's trying to like comfort this woman because she's crying. And she said, "Where are you from?" She thought the woman said West Virginia. And the lady said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Amy." And then she got excited and said, "Oh, I have a daughter named Amy. And I'm from somewhere close to there." Um, Now, all the other reports said then the men came in because they heard the lady talking, but this is not what the lady said happened. The lady herself said that she then, Amy like kind of came towards her, and so she kind of felt nervous and she went to leave. Okay, I'm glad it's working, Nikki. And then she went to leave, and right outside the door, the men were standing there waiting for her. So she went to her husband, and he's like, "What took you so long?" And she tells him what happened. And then they see Amy leave with these two men, arms locked in, like interlocking. And now everything else said that this lady then went and made a report. And I was like, yes, we love Judy, because this is the first person who immediately reported something that she saw go wrong. But child, Judy said that's not what happened. That's why I say it's like all these people, if one person gets it wrong, everybody gets it wrong. And I think that's because they're going based on, the game of telephone, right? Um, Amy said she did not report it right away, y'all. Amy said her husband was like, "There's nothing we can do." And so she said when she got back on the ship and they were pulling away and she was looking at Barbados from the ship, all she could think about was this person named Amy. And then sometime later, when was this? The family went on Dr. Phil. Okay, this was in March of 2005. Sometime later in 2005, the family went on Dr. Phil. Judy saw Dr. Phil, and that's when she called the FBI. Y'all, I was so hurt because I was just really rooting for Judy, right? Like the original video I was going to do, I was going to talk about how come it was only the woman who saw this woman needing help and immediately went and made a report. None of the men who said they saw Amy needing help went and did that. But Judy didn't do it either, honey. Her husband said, "There's nothing we could do about it." And they left. And it wasn't until she saw Dr. Phil that she called the FBI. Here's the thing. It's so easy to say what we would do. I was like, what would I have done if I'm on vacation and I see this happen? And I was questioning myself. But my daughters are like, "Mommy, we know you. Like, you would say something." I don't know. I like to think I would have, but I don't know. All right. Here is the part that tripped me out, y'all. The next scene we see is a young lady named Amy Douglas who reached out to the Bradley family because she felt she had some information. Let me tell y'all who Amy Douglas is. She is the daughter of Alister Douglas, aka Yellow. Now, I had seen this come up in my research where somebody said Alister Douglas' daughter said that she saw in his stuff pictures of Amy. And then a person replied and said she never said she saw pictures of Amy. I didn't know what to take of that. I didn't know what that means. Now it kind of makes sense from what Amica said. She's a young lady. She's a young mother. She's living in America. She says that her mom looked through her dad's. Okay, I think she's living in America. They didn't say that in the documentary, but I feel like I saw Yellow say that in the interview that I saw him do in recent years. Amy said that her mom, that all this happened before she was born. I would like to hope I would too. According to my daughters, they feel like I would because I kind of am that person. Um, but we often second guess ourselves. Like, we doubt ourselves. Like, am I overreacting? Like, whatever. Here's the thing though. Like, one of the men in a previous thing that I saw said that he called the FBI when he saw her on something, a missing poster, a magazine, America's Most Wanted. I can't remember which one. But the day that he saw her, he just thought it might be a domestic situation. My thing is, even if it is, if a woman needs help and she's letting you know she needs help, help. It doesn't have to be, my niece seems to think that I would report it. My daughters think I would too, Mickey. It doesn't have to be Amy Bradley. It doesn't have to be that the FBI is looking for her. But if a woman says she needs help, help. All right. So, Amy Bradley. She said all this happened before she was born. But her mom had told her about it. She had a relationship with her father growing up, even though her parents divorced when she was like a toddler. Her mom told her about how after this incident, her father was so different. She called the Bradleys because she felt like she had information that could help them. I don't think she did. Okay. Her father was so different after all this happened. He could have been different because he did something to Amy Bradley. He could have been different because he's been accused of doing something to Amy Bradley. I don't know. He could have been different because he was sick of her mama. Like, we don't know why he was different towards the mother. But this is what her mother told her. And that the mother said that one time, that when the dad got back, because he worked on cruise ships a lot, when the dad got back, she was going through his bag and he found a lot. She found, the mother, not the daughter. The mother said she found a lot of pictures of Caucasian women in his stuff. Not specifically Amy, but a lot of pictures of Caucasian women. He says, hey, I'm the cruise musician. I take pictures with a lot of people. A lot of people want to take pictures with me all the time. A lot of vacationers want to take pictures with me. And I kind of giggled at that because, well, okay, they took the picture of you, but how did you get the picture of them? If you were in the pictures with them, were they Polaroids? Because how did you get it instantly from the cruise ship? But I kind of got tickled because I was thinking about all the pictures I have of my girls with different cruise directors or musicians or the comedian from the cruise show. Like, especially if it's a famous comedian that we know in real life, how many pictures I have of my girls with these people. But he was like, a lot of people just want to take pictures with me. So, and in the interview that I saw of him, he talked about how this kind of haunted his whole life because after this, he wasn't able to get jobs and people always suspected him and he had nothing to do with it, but it really, really kind of put it dampened his life. It was like a shadow hanging over his whole life. So I could see if that's the case, maybe it's Mickey because it's fine. Oh, it's been a few. You mean the sound lady? It's been a few people, but the people that it affected, they said they went out and came back in and it was okay. So hopefully it's okay. I could see you acting different if that was the case. Now in this document, okay, no, I gotta tell this part. I almost didn't tell this part. The daughter, I don't like his daughter either. I don't hardly like anybody from this documentary. I mean, no, I like most people, but his daughter, while she's being interviewed by the Netflix production team or whoever is doing this documentary, she calls her dad and put him on speakerphone. Now let me tell y'all something about me. I would never do that to my dad. Even if my father's no longer with us, but even if somebody was suspecting my father of doing something, I might have a conversation with him about it in private. I would never be filming for something that's going to be viewed by the world and put my father on speakerphone with him not knowing it, trying to get him to confess like that. Like, even if we have to go down and confess, we're going to do this in a way where we try to get you a good deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to have a lawyer with you. Like, I would never set my dad up like that. I don't know the dynamics of their relationship. Maybe she really thinks her dad did it. She said she was trying to figure out a way to bring peace to the Bradley family. I don't even understand why she called them, because she really did not know anything. She knew that the only two things they shared that she knew. This is my opinion, okay? Feel free to disagree. The only two things she said she knew was that her father acted different towards her mother, and that he had pictures of Caucasian women. I can kind of see the pictures of the Caucasian women. Because if it's just the women, like, Daddy, why do you have a suitcase full of pictures of Caucasian women? But if it's him in the pictures, and he's a cruise ship performer, I don't know. That is a little bit suspicious. But I kind of feel like she was trying to insert herself into something. Natasha, you just took the words out of my mouth. I kind of feel like she was trying to insert herself into something, like Natasha said, maybe for her 5 minutes of fame. Because I feel like to bother that family, you need to really have something concrete. And if the pictures bothered you, maybe make a report to the FBI. Maybe y'all do want to talk to my daddy, because my mama said he had a whole bunch of pictures of Caucasian. I don't know. But to go on this Netflix documentary and film, and in the interview I saw with him, he said that his daughter did call him, and I didn't know it was for the documentary though. He said his daughter called him, and he felt like somebody was recording the call, and that's why he hung up. Because he could tell by the way his daughter was talking to him, something was off, and he kind of heard something, so he felt like somebody was recording the call. He thought maybe like the FBI were tapping into the phone call. But I think it was this phone call that she did for Netflix or for the production company or whoever that he's talking about. I just thought it was shady. It makes me look at you with the side eye. Because even if you think your dad did it, there's a different way to handle that. And if my father or anybody else I felt like that I loved was suspected of doing something, I may try to get you to turn yourself in. I always joke with my sister and so I haven't said it in years, but I used to tell her, don't tell me nothing, honey, because if they call me down to the station, because I watch Law and Order SVU, I said, if they ever call me down to the station and they put me in that room and they turn that light on, I'm telling everything I know. Like, everything I know. Oh, Lynette must not know I'm live. She just left a comment on a different video and said she missed me. So don't put me in on your shenanigans, baby. I am not the accomplice. No, like me and my friend, we were on a cruise, and she was telling me something about somebody, and I said, "Who?" And I looked around like that, and she said, "Don't look, don't look, don't look," because they might see that I'm talking about them. And I said, okay, so I listened a little bit more. And then I turned around. I said, that one right there? Like, just without even thinking, like, I'm not the accomplice. Don't do it with me. Because, honey, I told my sister all the time, if they take me in that room, that room, and they put that light on, I'm telling everything I know. So I can see, like, if you feel like you're a family member, if you have evidence that your dad did something like this to somebody, maybe you do call somebody, but I would not be calling him on the speakerphone on Netflix. Okay, enough about that. All right, so Alister, in the conversation with his daughter, Yellow says, I hung out with her. I don't know anything. After seeing her that night, I don't know anything beyond that night. I took a lie detector test. I passed it. Now, he said he passed it, but the FBI guy said it was inconclusive. I don't know if that's passing or not. I guess it's not failing, but I don't know. The FBI cleared me, and I continued to work on that ship for 2 years. Or I continued to work on cruises for 2 years. So if that's the case, if he continued to work, especially on that ship for 2 years, I would have to think Royal Caribbean really felt like he didn't have anything to do with it. Alister was in his room at 3:30. Oh, girl, I just caught him in a lie. He told his daughter he was in his room at 1 a.m. This says he got to his room at 3:35 a.m. according to the key card. But now Amy got to her room at 3:40 according to the key card. So they probably were together. And just like they couldn't tell who got off the ship, but they know who got on the ship, he got in his room at 3:35. She got into her room at 3:40, but they have no way of knowing when they left the rooms. The cruise director, so Alister was definitely in his room at 3:35 a.m. These are the points of why he might be innocent. He was in his room at 3:35 a.m. His room was searched. The cruise director, who we don't like, says that he thinks Alister was a nice guy in the wrong place, dancing with the wrong girl. And he continued to be employed for 2 years. Then we meet another ex-girlfriend of Amy. Okay, so this is the second ex-girlfriend we met in the documentary. This is the ex-girlfriend that says in January of 1998, so 2 months before the cruise, Amy confessed to her that while drinking, so this seems to be a repeated pattern because her college friend said she drank a lot to kind of deal with emotions, they think. And now, while drinking, she kissed another girl. It meant nothing. The girlfriend kind of was like, let's put this on ice because I'm hurt. You betrayed me. You hurt me. So she stops talking to Amy, and Amy starts to write her letters. And that's their only way of being in touch. One of the letters she received about 2 weeks before the cruise, and it was a message in a bottle. And it was really poetic. And it was basically Amy saying, I'm sorry, I want to make this right. So the girlfriend went over to Amy's new apartment a couple days before the cruise. Her and Amy kind of made up. They said they would talk about it after the cruise. She received the postcard from Amy, but the postcard came after she had found out Amy was missing. One of those postcards Amy sent while she was in Puerto Rico, but the postcard came after she found out Amy was missing. Okay, this was mentioned here at the end, but it should have went with the Judy story. Judy says she heard Amy, when she was talking to these men, ask if they were going to be able to stop by and see the children. She doesn't know what to make of it. She doesn't know what it means. But it was mentioned at the end of the documentary because it goes along with the thought that perhaps Amy is still alive. Because there was a website that somebody created, like a internet detective, true crime person, and where people could come and bring all the facts they had about Amy Bradley and what may or may not have happened. And they realized we can search IP addresses. Like all these people that are visiting the website and commenting on the website, we can see their IP addresses to see where they come from. And that made me think about, I have a Shopify site, and on my Shopify site, it can tell me like 13 people are on your website and this is where they're from, and you can see where they're from. So it's probably the same kind of thing. And so they started to watch the trends of where these people that visited their website were from. And they had lots of visits to the website from a Barbados IP address. And remember, the last person that felt that they saw Amy was in Barbados. And they also had other from Curacao. But in these IP addresses, they would come to the website and they would visit it on significant days like Thanksgiving, Amy's mother's birthday. And they would like just sit on pages for several minutes. Like they're just looking at pictures. They would put up pictures of like Amy's mother, Amy's family picture, whatever. And the person, whoever these people are that are in Barbados and Curacao, they will go to the website. This is years later. Go to the website and just kind of sit on those pages for extended periods of time. And often on like Thanksgiving, Christmas, the mother's birthday, things like that. And so they were saying, well, if Amy has the freedom to visit this website, because they're thinking it might be Amy, right? Like maybe she's in Barbados and she's found this website, like she's Googled herself and found this website, and she's reading things that people are saying about her. And So her mom's birthday, she comes and she pulls up these pictures of her mom on this website, and she's just looking at them. Um, if she can do all that, how come she has not reached out to her family to come home? And then one of the theories is perhaps she has children, and that if she does anything they don't like, they've told her, will hurt your family or whatever. And then that's when they mentioned that Judy said she heard Amy ask, are we going to be able to stop by and see the kids? So perhaps she has children. Or perhaps she has, what is that thing called where like the person begins to identify with the people that took them? Is it Stockholm Syndrome? I think that's what it is. So they're thinking that perhaps she, deals with that. They don't know. It was so funny though, because in the Netflix thing, they shared clips from like all these YouTubers that I had watched those same stories about Netflix. What I did notice is that one of the people they did not share was, and I think she was an FBI profiler. She is the person who had me thinking Amy did not get off that ship. Amy was not in Curacao. All these sightings are not really her, because of some of the points that she made. One of the points that she made was Amy was not physically what a person would be looking for if they were trying to abduct you and sell you into that kind of stuff. And she also mentioned how often, like say there are two siblings and one of them does something to the other sibling, the parents will try to cover it up because clearly it was an accident and we're trying to protect the one child we have left. She said they see that happen often. So she, like, listening to her, no, Candace, we're not gonna get scared. We're just gonna be safe. Because for one thing, this happened a long time ago. We have all kinds of new technologies now. They have cameras on the balconies, more cameras. We got to Bing off the ship and Bing on the ship. They have, I've seen that the FBI, they used to have the cruise ship's permission to come on the ship and investigate. But now, if the suspected crime happens to an American citizen, they have the right to come on the ship and investigate. So all kinds of new things are in place right now to protect us that unfortunately were not in place on that night or that morning when Amy went missing. But I want to know, it's 18 of y'all on here. If you do me a favor, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, you all, and like the video, thumbs up the video. What do you think happened? What are your theories? Initially, I still don't really want to say it, but I didn't feel that the mother knew anything, but I felt like the family had something to do with it, but the mother didn't know. The mother was clueless and wasn't involved at all. After the Netflix series, where we've heard from the mother, we've heard from the father, we've heard from the brother, we've heard from the cruise staff and employees and the cabin neighbor and all this, I am sort of thinking that Amy did get off the ship. I'm sort of thinking that these sightings may actually have been Amy. What I was trying to figure out, and I could not figure it out, is how often are people wrong? Like, how often are eyewitnesses wrong when they say they've seen a person somewhere? I've discovered that they are often wrong, but how likely is that? How likely is it that a person can say, I saw her and I can describe her, and she had the same tattoo in the same places, and then they end up being that it wasn't her? I don't know. But I'd love to know what you think. If you watch the documentary after this, come back here and comment and let me know what your thoughts were. I mean, most of the popular opinions are that she went overboard on purpose. She went overboard by accident. I just don't get with the by accident part, because the balcony is kind of too high. for it to be by accident. That she was smuggled off the ship and then sold into, and yeah, those are basically the main theories. So let me know what you all think. It's a very interesting story, y'all. This has led to other stories. There's a guy named George who went missing. Have y'all heard about George? I think a question would be, when those two girls seen Yellow and Amy in the elevator. And I'm going to watch it. I think she actually did leave the ship. Maybe she's adapted to a new life since she's been gone for so long. Yeah. The profiler didn't seem to believe the girls. Like, she just dismissed it. But this particular profiler, I kind of feel like she goes in with a preconceived notion. Because I watched, because of this, I stumbled upon her channel because of this case. And then I ended up watching her JonBenet Ramsey coverage as well. And I'm like, she seems to have, and there's a young black girl that went missing, I think from South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere around there, named Aisha, I think was her name. I watched her case on her. And she seemed to like just throw away anything that doesn't fit in with her preconceived notions. I'm terrible for having a feeling about the brother. Adults at that age get drunk. I don't see anything. Okay. Natasha, was that you? Natasha. That's what I thought. And the profiler said that too. The profiler was like, the brother, he keeps pointing out that the last thing he said to his sister was, "I love you," before going to bed. And she was like, how many young adults do that? Like, that's not normal behavior. I have daughters. I don't have sons. But my daughters, every time I hear them hang up the phone with each other, I hear them say, "I love you." We're all in a group chat, and I often see them texting each other, "I love you." I don't know. I feel as if she was trying to climb over. Somebody else suggested that. Okay, because did you watch the documentary, lady, the Netflix? Because when they asked him, like, is it possible, the weird neighbor that her mother thought was weird, that I think is weird too, they asked him, like, is it possible that she went overboard or something like that? And he said, it's possible. It's like the way he said it, I was like, oh, you know something. You know something. But the profiler, so she mentioned about how often, because a lot of people suspect that's what happened with JonBenet Ramsey, is that when one sibling does something to another sibling, it's an accident, it's out of character for that sibling. You've already lost one child, you protect the other child. So I was thinking, was he upset with her because of her behavior in the club? Okay, just listen to me. Was the brother upset with her because of her behavior in the club? Had she drunk too much, and was he bothered by that? He said they were both tipsy, but most of the people mentioned Amy liked to drink. Okay. And the way one of them said it, I perceived that she likes to drink to excess. But she's a young person. She was 23 at the time. Her brother was 21. Was there family drama about the coming out thing? Did they get into it? But the parents, they shared a room with their parents. That's the other thing. Because initially I was thinking, did they get into it? Did he... Okay, but this is the thing, lady JL. Did the brother do something where she ended up going overboard, not on her own will? She didn't choose to go overboard. Did the brother then wake up the dad and say, "Dad, this is what I did. This is what happened. Oh my gosh," right? And then the dad wakes up and he's trying to, "Don't wake up your mother." And he's trying to help Natasha. He's trying to help cover for the brother, which is why if he woke the mother up and was like, "I can't find Amy," which that would make sense to me as to why he's unrecognizable to her. Like, why he looks like she's never seen him look this way before. Because maybe I don't look that unlike myself, after 30 minutes of searching for my adult daughter. But maybe I look that much unlike myself after helping my son cover up. That's how I felt prior to watching the Netflix documentary. Like, that was my train of thought prior to watching the documentary. Like, was that a possibility? But because it just felt like 30 minutes of you waking up and not seeing her, and then you looking for her and coming back to the cabin. You wake up, you don't see her, you leave to go, you look for her, you come back to the cabin. In those 30 minutes, you're that panicked. That just didn't seem normal to me. That didn't seem normal to me, to be that panicked after 30 minutes of not being able to put your eyes on your adult child. However, after watching this documentary, now I have another theory, and that is, did she really get off to go look for something, like what the Navy man said she told him? Like, did somebody say to her, well, yeah, get off the ship with me and I'll show you where to find it, blah, 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 blah. She gets off, but they really have ulterior motives. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This is what I can say. I hope if she is still alive, some kind of way she finds out about this documentary and becomes emboldened to reach out to her family if she's able to, or becomes able to reach out to her family. Something that the mother said, y'all, it has just stuck with me. Why would he not get his daughter from the balcony in that condition? See, there are all kind of questions. I feel, but see, this goes back to, they wouldn't have a record of her leaving the ship though. No, because they said they didn't keep track of who left the ship. They only kept track of who got back on the ship back then. What was I about to answer before that? Hold on. I can't remember what you said, and the comment is not coming up. Hold on. Let me see if I can switch this to that, and then will the comment come up? Okay. Okay. All right. So this goes back to what I was saying before, is that we can't judge what we would do as what's normal. All right. Because everybody has different reactions to everything. But first they said she didn't really want to take the cruise because she was nervous about cruising, because she was not comfortable with the open water. And so then my thing is, if you're not comfortable with the open water, why are you so comfortable that you sleep on the balcony? Then also, I feel like as a parent, if I woke up and I saw one of my children sleeping on the balcony, my natural reaction would be to go wake them up and say, hey, go get into bed. But I don't know. Yeah, there are all kinds of different theories. The family seems certain that she did not go overboard. This is what I'm going to say. And I'll close this up because, y'all, this is supposed to be a 60-minute talk show. The mother said that every night her and her husband say to each other, maybe tomorrow is the day. Then the next morning they say, maybe today is the day. And then that night they say, maybe tomorrow is the day. Every morning and every night. And that just broke my heart. That just broke my heart. That they live with this every single day. And the brother said that he's happy. Well, he didn't say happy. He said he'd rather not know what happened, because the open-endedness of it makes him feel better about it, because there's still hope. That's what the brother said. I just feel like, as a parent, to not know whether your child is here, not here, if they believe that she is still here, then they believe that she's living a miserable life where she's mistreated and abused. I don't know. But that is the story of Amy Lynn Bradley. Like I said, this rabbit trail sent me down looking for There's a guy named George who went missing on his honeymoon. Have y'all heard about that case? That case sounds like it could be like a Murder She Wrote type thing, like an Agatha Christie type thing. Just all kinds of. There's another case of a Disney employee on a Disney cruise that. Candace, I'm with you. I need answers. Somebody need to tell us something. But I just do pray for the family, and I hope that they have peace, that they come to know peace, and that if Amy is still alive, that she gets back in touch with her family. Yeah, that she gets back in touch with her family. Because by all accounts, they were a super close family. Like everybody, even in spite of the fact that her parents were upset about her coming out, everybody still says, despite that, they were a very, very close family. Isn't the father still alive? The father's still alive. The father, and I think there are two brothers from the Ramsey family. Y'all, that whole Ramsey thing. Okay, we're not going to get into that. You love to hear about stories with happy endings, but try not to look into them. Yeah. It's weird to say I like true crime, but I'm fascinated by true crime. I'm a person who gets interested in things and then like deep dives way into them. Like I get interested in a topic and then I will study that topic for weeks or months. And then one day I'm just not interested anymore and I don't think about it again. But I am that kind of person. Like when I watched a show called Big Love, and which is not true crime. It was about polygamy. And then watching the show called Big Love got me interested in the Mormon history and Mormon culture and polygamous culture. Not interested as in I'm about to join the Mormon church, but just interested as a student who gets interested in things. And I probably did enough studying on the history of the Mormon church to have a degree in Mormon history. And then I started meeting people who were Mormon just through life. And I would tell them things and they'd be like, I didn't even know that. But that's kind of how I get. So when I first heard about this story with Amy Lynn Bradley, that's how it was. Like every spare minute I had, I was like digging in. And then I don't, like just what you tell me on a YouTube video, that's not going to be enough for me. I need to go deep dive and go further. Like I said, I need original sources. So I can't say I enjoy true crime, but I enjoy hearing the stories. I enjoy like whodunits, that kind of thing. So I hope this was interesting to you. I hope I told the story in a way that made sense to you. If you go watch the Netflix documentary, come back here and tell me what you think after watching the documentary. Candace said another sexual show. Let me tell y'all something about y'all. Karen said I also follow Scientology too. Leah Remini came out with, I watched it. You know, Mike Renner passed away, Karen, that did the thing with Leah Remini. He passed away. Plus I live in St. Pete, and which is like in the same county as the Clearwater, Florida, which is where the Scientology headquarters are. It was so crazy because after I did my Scientology deep dive, I remember telling my ex-husband, like, I just want to go drive up to Clearwater and talk to people and see if they need a way out. Because that's just what I felt like. Do you all need help getting out? The way, I think you explained it the way I may feel. Okay, yes, I heard about that. So sad. Yeah. About Mike Renner. Yeah. So, I was saying the way y'all boost my head up about my little talk show. Honey, like in the comments, y'all would be like, Kim, I love your talk show. You're doing such a good job with your talk show. Girl, y'all gonna make me feel like Oprah Winfrey around here. Okay? Y'all gonna make me feel like Oprah. I'm telling you all, Malcolm, bring me that a piece of that grass stuff out of that box. Let me show y'all. Because y'all know I'm working on my corner. My filming corner. right there. Just bring me one of those little tiles. Please, sir. Young sir. All right, so I bought these. And I can't decide if I'm going to put them on this wall all the way up and down the wall on both sides of this curtain. It's a picture window. Or if I want to put it just on this wall, covering just what you all see. And then put a neon light. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Yes, Natasha. Candace. One day, I'm gonna be able to do that. And be like, you get a cruise, you get a cruise. The 13th commenter gets a cruise. Put this up here where you all will see and cover what you all would see. And then in the middle, either do a neon sign that says Kim After 50 or Warm Topic Wednesdays. It makes more sense to do Kim After 50 because I film other things here beside the talk show. But I just feel like every talk show needs a sign, right? The Oprah Winfrey sign, the Wendy Williams sign, the Sherry Shepherd sign. Does Sherry have a sign? I don't know if Sherry has a sign. But you know every talk show needs a sign, darling. But yeah, the way y'all just boost me up and like I feel like my little talk show is so corny and just fun. Just you know, it's just a lie, but I'm calling it a talk show. But y'all are in the comments like, another great talk show. I love your talk show, Kim. So thank y'all for being who you all are as people. Y'all really help a girl get along in this world. Like truly, truly. The last week, if y'all noticed, because several of you all commented how much y'all miss me. So I know y'all noticed. I hadn't really put up a video in almost a week. And it's just because I just had a rough week. It's like every time I feel like I'm getting my footing, every time I think, okay, this is where I am, this is where I'm going, this is what I got going on. It's like I'm making these discoveries. I'm finding out things and they're just still throwing me for a loop. And I miss you when you was gone. I was going through with y'all. I missed y'all too. And I was like, it's so weird to feel like I miss my YouTube friends, but I miss my YouTube friends. You all are such a positive force in my life. And thank you so much for letting me shout out my YouTube channel last live. I'm now up to 105 subscribers. Go ahead. Natasha, yes. It feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes, and a lot of times. And I just felt like I was thrown for just another major loop. And it just took me a minute to get back to say, okay, I got a bigger mountain to climb than I initially thought I had to climb. But you know what? I'm a climber. So I'll figure it out, right? So thank you all so much. Because I miss y'all too. I was like, it feels weird to say I miss them. But you all, I do. I missed you all. So anyway, I do have another video coming up. I don't know what I'm going to title it. It's either good. Okay, this is the title I wanted to do, but Maya told me come up with another title. 10 essential items to survive a poop cruise. I just thought that would be a fun video. Like, what do the people who were on the poop cruise, what do they wish they had? So I was going to do that video because they're also just things people take on a cruise, right? Just regular things people take on a cruise. Okay, you just changed it. So I have the things. I had 8 of them already, and then I had to order 2 things. And so I thought that would go along with our poop cruise topic that we did. Patricia, I am thinking about it. So I met this guy on my last cruise who was a travel agent, and so many people have said to me, like, you have such a passion for travel that you should be a travel agent. At one point, I even talked to Leah into being a travel agent because I was like, listen, if you don't book nobody's travel but mine, it'll be, you know, a little income every month. And so she did the training and she signed up, and then she just really wasn't interested. And so I was like, okay, you can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do, right? But so this guy that I met in the hot tub on the last cruise, he was telling me about how some of the perks of being a travel agent and some of the different ways to become one. So I thought maybe I'll do it because I honestly don't have the time for another full-fledged business right now. But maybe I'll do it and just do like a few group cruises and enjoy the discounts and the perks. So I'm thinking about that right now. If you pray with me and pray for me that, that I do whatever is right for me. But so I'm thinking about that right now. And if I do, then I definitely will be doing a group cruise. Even if I don't, I might do one because the more I hang out with you all, the more I would like to hang out with y'all at sea. So we'll see. I'm going on this group cruise with MH Family Adventures next week. And I'm going to be watching like closely to see how she does it, like how she pulls it off. I can already tell she's a super organized person, so I feel like everything's going to run smoothly. But to see how she pulls it off. I've hosted a couple group cruises in the past, but that was pre-pandemic, and so many things have changed, right? So many things have changed. So anyway, all right, y'all, we way over time. We're almost 2 hours, right? 1 hour and 16 minutes, almost 2 hours. So go watch the documentary if it's something that you're interested in. If you are and you watch it, please come back here and let me know what your thoughts are. And maybe we'll do another one of these because right now, y'all, I'm learning about George. No, Champ B say he knows. Oh, he or she knows I'm saying group cruise, but she just keeps hearing poop cruise. Y'all, what is up with all of these things coming out about cruising right now? Like, what's up with it? Because Netflix just did the poop cruise, and now they did the Amy Bradley cruise. So yeah, so come back and comment and let me know. I appreciate you all so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please thumbs up the video. Miss Mickey, our in chat view. It just changed. Our viewers in chat and our likes were matching. Thumbs up the video. I appreciate you. I put out a video yesterday on 5 ways to find cheap cruises. I thought it was interesting because a couple of the websites I share, I don't think they're common. Maybe they are and I just don't know they are. So if you're interested in learning more about finding cheap cruises, please check that out. Also, help a sister out. If there are any videos I've done that you haven't watched, please go watch them and help me out with that watch time. Every single minute counts. Share the channel with anybody that you know that you think might be interested in cruising. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to Amy's channel, go over and check out Amy's channel. It is If You Seek Amy. Go over and subscribe to her channel. She's working on getting monetized. And I just think that it does not cost you anything to subscribe to somebody's channel. Mickey says she needs watch hours. Mickey, did I not know you even had a channel? I should have from your title. Okay. I got you, Amy. I got you. So go check out Amy's channel. See what she's talking about over there. I search If You Seek Amy, only Britney comes up. Britney Spears comes up. She just tagged herself right above your comment. Yeah, so if somebody needs subscribers, y'all, let's just subscribe. Check out their channels too, because they may have content that you're interested in, and it costs us nothing, and it really does help somebody out, right? So anyway, thank y'all so much. I love and appreciate y'all. I hope to see y'all in the next video. Maybe somewhere at sea. Girl, I done messed up my outro. Y'all should have heard me the other day doing my video. Last week I was on my video. I messed up my outro so many times. Hope to see y'all in the next video. Maybe at sea somewhere. Wait a minute. What do I say when I get off a video? Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope to see you on the next video. Okay. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope to see you on the next video. Maybe at sea or somewhere else in this big, beautiful world. Bye-bye.